Oh, yes, hi there. Hi there. How are you doing? How are you doing? Good, good, good. You must be my, yes, my 3 o'clock appointment, right? Okay, great, great, great. And the clerk already checked you in, got your different facial measurements already. It's been squared away, I'm assuming, right? Okay, awesome, great. Well, yeah, go ahead, just take a seat here, get comfortable. Um, oh yes, and I haven't met you before, right? Oh yes, that's right. Yes, wife, right? Okay, got it. Yes, I worked with your husband about 2 months back, right? Okay, awesome, awesome. Yes, no, I do remember him. Definitely, definitely, very interesting fellow. Yes, of course. Um, Great. Well, yeah, I know I last talked to him, and he said he would be coming just you for another visit. So we did him, doing you, and then there was talks about potentially both of you coming back in together for a couple's side by side video, or not video. What am I talking about? A sketch. Yes. Okay. Great. Great. Any dogs? Sometimes we do dogs, or if you have any kids, we do kid photos as well, or all of you all together. Sometimes it's a little hard to choreograph with both dogs and with kids, though, immediately. So sometimes we just prefer one or the other, just to make it a little easier on everyone involved. But we'll worry about scheduling all that later, and of course you have to make sure you like yours first. I know your husband was, very happy with his portrait that I did for him. But did you like it as well? Okay, great. Yeah, of course. Why else would you be here if you didn't like it? All right. So, first things first. What I always like to recommend to my clients is to just sit comfortably. You don't have to force too strict of a posture. I want you to look natural, right? Some people have the habit of looking too, what's the word? Too stiff, too artificial, if you will. So some people will be like, yes, indeed. And they'll pucker up their lips. And now the furrow, if they're trying to look, regal, if you will. Some people will try to look too happy to be here, if you know what I mean. So, having a nice faint smile is one thing, but some people take it to the extreme to where they, you know, and it does look nice. It is what it is. It might be nice for a quick little snapshot, a photo. But the problem with that is that if you are too tight, right, your muscles are tense when you smile, right? It takes a lot of muscles to smile, but just being natural doesn't really take as much muscular strength. So if I'm going to be here with you for 20 some odd minutes, the thing is if you are smiling too much, then in that situation eventually you'll be smiling like this, and then eventually your smile will be this, and eventually your smile will be this, and then eventually your smile will be this, and then this. So you see what I'm saying? Basically that it's hard to maintain a very stiff, a very exaggerated, forced smile. So what I like to do is I like to tell my clients personally to just, you can have a little bit of a faint grin. But don't overdo it, because if you stress out your muscles too much and you're sitting here for 20 minutes, it's going to be harder for me to capture that, because some people are great at holding that set photo. So I'm fine with you being natural. That's what I'm trying to get at. Just be comfortable, put a little bit of a smile, You don't have to go overboard with it. Okay, so the first thing I like doing is on the shape of your face. And once I have that, I'll erase a bit as I need, tweak it a little bit, fine tune it, lighten it, darken it in a few spots, just sort of, depending on how accurate I am from the first go on the general shape. Okay, so around here. Okay, can you look a little over to the left? Okay, great. Wonderful. Okay. Okay, awesome. So, yeah, I like to sort of make my clients feel relatively at ease, comfortable. So, I do sometimes like to just throw in a little chit chat just to kind of get a sense of your essence as a person. That does help to know a little bit about the person that I'm drawing to just better capture their essence, their being, if you will. So, the first thing I usually ask people, married, single, that whole question. Don't want to get into too much of the details, but I know your situation already. You work with your husband. Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself, and start with your occupation. And just what kind of work do you do for a living? You what? One more time. You train bears. Interesting. So, do you work for like the circus or a zoo? Get out. No way. You train bears for the military? Okay. Well, I definitely can say that I've never heard of such an occupation, but riddle me very intrigued. That's a new one. I definitely do see some interesting jobs here, but training bears for the military that's a first for me, personally. So is that like the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, military? Okay, right, so, right, the Army. Okay, the Army, gotcha, right. Okay, right. Interesting. The pirate bears would be pretty cool if they were like the Navy or the pilot, from the Air Force bears. I mean, honestly, bears involved in the military in a facet is pretty terrifying. But okay. So, what do you do as far as, I guess, like, what do you train them for? Combat. I guess that makes sense, but that notion is terrifying. I must say, that is interesting, no? Okay, so like clawing, mauling, and like taking orders, so they like sit and they, attack on command words, or okay, gotcha. So like you're like a handler. Do you go into combat zones with the bears, or do you just train them and send them off to their assigned, bear handler? I don't know the proper terminology, but okay, so just training them and then assigning them off to other. Okay, interesting. And how exactly did you get into that profession? don't mind me asking. Okay, you were raised by bears. Okay, so your parents, I mean, I don't want to pry too much, but so, I mean, forgive me if this is crude or inappropriate, but you basically were like a feral child, for lack of a better term. Okay, fair enough, okay. Interesting. I'm working on your hair at the moment, which is why there's a lot of quick strokes and whatnot. So, anyway, interesting. So, any plans for the weekend? Okay. A clown convention. Interesting. So is that just sort of, I'm sorry, there's a dog grooming service next door. It is what it is. No, but, so you yourself, do you do any work as a clown, as a side hobby, or? Oh, it's just kind of more of an interest, a hobby, but not like a side job per se. Okay, got it. Okay, excuse me, I'm gonna just kind of measure out a little bit on that back and just look at the distance between your eyes and and your nose. Okay, awesome, great. Okay, great. Yeah, I have those measurements here, but sometimes seeing it up close is just a whole different kit and caboodle. Okay, so I'm working around, like I said, your eyes, like your nose, that kind of area at the moment. Doing a little bit of shading, blending in here. Okay. Let me get around you. Let me do your eyes next. Okay. So how did you get into the whole interest on clowns thing? You grew up in a circus? But didn't you say... I'm sorry. You're telling me that you grew up in a circus, but at the same time you're telling me that you were raised by bears. I don't mean to pry, but just kind of interested in that situation, on how those two things are related. Okay. Okay. So you were left in a bear cage your whole childhood, and the bears worked for the circus. So the zookeepers locked you in the cage to create a zoo attraction out of you by basically forcing you to become a feral child by locking you in a cage filled with bears your whole life. And did they visit you just for food and water? Okay, great. Well, clean. Okay. I'm sorry you had to endure that. That sounds miserable. Interesting. Indeed. Okay, and now I'm just doing a little close-up work here in your eyes. On your eyes here. Interesting. How it's pretty rare that people have two different colored eyes. So that's blue on the left and like a hazel on the right. But the hazel has a little bit of a thicker hazel with a bit stronger pupil, and it's a darker tone there. Okay, great. So I'm fine-tuning a few things, but I'm finishing up here. Let me get that little. Okay, don't mind me. Just let me. Okay. your husband, I don't think he ever mentioned as far as the whole circus life. Was he ever a part of that? Or is that an interest of him? No? Okay. Oh, okay, he's more like a wrestling kind of, okay. Like a classic Greco-Roman or like WWE stuff. Okay. Monster trucks too. Okay. Very manly man. I guess you'd have to be you know, I mean this with the utmost respect, but you'd probably have to be a pretty manly man to be married to someone who trains bears for the military. I'm sorry. Let's go back to that. Kitten caboodle. So there was something that you said earlier about one of the hardest things is maintaining their accuracy. You meaning like how accurate they are with hitting the target, and sometimes they just swing wide and they, it's like a depth. You mean with rifle? Oh, so you're saying they're not always the best shot. So you teach them how to shoot assault, right? Okay. Okay. Interesting. So they're armed. Machine guns. Okay. Interesting. Please tell me they're not riding Okay, they are. Okay, they are on unicycles. Okay. Well, but bicycles. Okay, both. Okay. They're driving cars. Just tanks. Okay. Just kind of doing a little bit of stippling around your collar. Your little stipple. Stippling around your collar. Yeah, get a little texture around here on the collars. Okay, and just rounding out the shoulders a little bit. Fine tuning that. Okay, got a little overboard. I'm gonna lighten that. Just a pinch there. Just okay. Just lighten that around. Formulate that out a little. And then I gotta darken here and this right here. Light right there. Okay, great. Okay, awesome. And lastly, I'm just going to sort of gray your shirt out a little bit here. Looks like it's a similar tone to mine. So let me just do some quick little scribbles here, and then I'll shade it all together. Yeah, so put it on there. I'll erase it a little bit, and I'll take my shading pencil and just tweak and just rub it a little, like the paper ones that are just tightly rolled up. Yeah, apply that over like that, okay. Okay, so that's gonna be about it. Once I finish on your shirt. Yeah, then we're gonna be done after the shirt, and then we'll just, the clerk will go back and bill you, and then if you want to try to schedule that family photograph we mentioned, or sketching that we mentioned, I don't do photography, but I do know someone if you need one. I do have a family photographer if needed. It's a good friend of mine. Okay, let me get a little bit of a curve in my stroke there. Okay, awesome. Now I'm just kind of shading it a little bit. Okay. Okay, just erase it a little, light it in a few selected spots, and then I'll fade it in a little one. Shopping. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, right? I made sure to get the difference in the thickness of the pupils there, right? Yeah, and the different sized ears. I made sure I got that as well. Had to get the underbite there. I think this looks just like you. I think this is perfect. Perfect, perfect. A true work of art, if I do say so myself. So, like I said before, I charge $100 a minute. So, let's see. We're in here 23 minutes at this point. So, let's see. How much was that? 23 times 100, right? Yep, so about $2,300. Post taxes and fees, surcharges. But yeah, so yeah, just go ahead and take it to the cashier, and I will sign that here for you. I'll sign. Do you want to sign a date? Okay, I'll sign and date that here for you. So that is and today's date, that is 4/9/2022. 4/9/2022. Perfect. All done, all done, all done, all done. I will see you later. I am so excited to do the side-by-side sketching of you and your husband next time. I'm booked here for quite a bit, so, high demand and whatnot. But most likely we'll be able to squeeze you in sometime in about a month from now. All right, well, pleasure doing business with you. Hope to see you around.